In 1451, a 19-year-old sultan inherited an empire everyone thought was finished. 30 years later, he had toppled a 1,000-year-old empire, swallowed 2 continents' worth of territory, and made Europe tremble at the mention of his name. This is the story of Mehmed II, Mehmed the Conqueror, and how one man turned 3 decades into the most explosive expansion the Ottoman Empire ever saw. To understand how remarkable this was, you need to understand the mess Mehmed inherited. Decades earlier, the Ottomans had been crushed at the Battle of Ankara by Timur, their sultan captured, their empire nearly torn apart in a civil war between rival brothers. By the time Mehmed took the throne for good in 1451, the Ottomans had clawed back together, but they were still boxed in. Constantinople, the ancient capital of the Byzantine Empire, sat like a knife in the middle of their territory, controlling the straits between Europe and Asia. Everyone from Venice to Hungary was watching this young, untested sultan, wondering if he'd be the one to finally lose it all. They were about to find out just how wrong they were. Mehmed's first move was audacious. He built a fortress, Janissary, on the European shore of the Bosphorus, choking off any help reaching Constantinople by sea. Then he did something no one expected. He commissioned the largest cannon in the world at the time, capable of firing stone balls that could shatter walls that had stood for over 1,000 years. In April 1453, when the Byzantines blocked the harbor with a massive chain, Mehmed simply had his ships hauled overland at night, bypassing the barrier entirely. After a 53-day siege, Ottoman troops breached the walls. On May 29, 1453, Constantinople fell. This wasn't just a military victory. It ended the Byzantine Empire, a state that had survived for over 1,000 years, and gave Mehmed a new capital, a new title, and a launch pad. He renamed the city Istanbul and began rebuilding it as the beating heart of his empire. He was 21 years old. With Constantinople secured, Mehmed turned his armies west and north. Serbia, weakened and fractured, fell under sustained Ottoman pressure through the 1450s. The despotate was absorbed piece by piece, its resistance ground down by repeated campaigns. Bosnia came next. In 1463, Mehmed personally led a lightning campaign that shattered the Bosnian kingdom in a matter of weeks, capturing its last king. The speed stunned European observers. Kingdoms that had stood for generations were being absorbed in single campaign seasons. The Peloponnese, the last fragments of Byzantine power under Mehmed's own relatives, was systematically conquered by 1460. Meanwhile, Ottoman forces pushed into Albania, where they met their fiercest resistance yet from the legendary rebel leader Skanderbeg, who held out for years in the mountains. Bit by bit, the Balkans were being redrawn on Mehmed's terms. While Europe watched the Balkans, Mehmed was quietly solving a problem that had plagued the Ottomans for a century: rival Turkish principalities across Anatolia that refused to submit. In 1461, he conquered Trebizond, the last remnant of the Byzantine world, snuffing out its independent empire on the Black Sea coast. Other Anatolian beyliks, Karaman among them, were brought to heel through a mix of diplomacy, marriage alliances, and outright conquest. That he also pushed Ottoman power onto the Crimean coast, bringing the Genoese trading colonies there under Ottoman control and establishing the Crimean Khanate as an Ottoman vassal, extending influence deep into the Black Sea's northern shore. For the first time in generations, Anatolia was united under a single Turkish ruler. By the late 1470s, Mehmed's ambitions reached further than anyone imagined. In 1480, Ottoman forces landed at Otranto, on the heel of the Italian peninsula, and captured the city. For the first time, an Ottoman army held ground on Italian soil, barely 400 miles from Rome. Panic swept through the Italian states. Pope Sixtus IV reportedly considered fleeing the Vatican entirely. It was a stunning demonstration of how far Ottoman reach now extended. From the Black Sea to the Adriatic, from the Balkans to the heart of the Mediterranean. In May 1481, exactly 30 years after taking the throne, Mehmed II died while leading yet another army into the field, his destination still debated by historians, with Rhodes and even Egypt among the guesses. In those 3 decades, he had roughly doubled the size of the empire he inherited. He'd ended the Byzantine Empire, unified Anatolia, absorbed most of the Balkans, planted a flag in Italy, and transformed Istanbul into an imperial capital that would anchor Ottoman power for centuries. What Mehmed II built didn't stop with him. His conquest set the stage for his successors, including his great-grandson Suleiman the Magnificent, to push the empire even further. But the foundation. The fall of Constantinople, the unification of Anatolia, the leap into Europe and the Mediterranean, that was 30 years of one man's relentless ambition. If you want to see what happened next, when the Ottomans reached the absolute peak of their power, let me know in the comments. That might be our next video.